All right, today we're going to jump back in time, way back to 16th century Japan. We're going to uncover this incredible story of conviction. It's all about faith, fear, and a really dramatic, fateful journey to a single hill overlooking the sea.
And this whole story, it all starts with a number, 26. Now, this isn't just some random statistic. It's 26 people, 26 individual lives, all connected, bound together by this one single, unwavering belief.
So, who were these 26 people? Well, that's what's so fascinating. They were this incredibly diverse bunch. You had the son of a samurai, you had 6 missionaries from a foreign land, and get this, there were 3 young boys in the group. I mean, the youngest was only 12. Their backgrounds couldn't have been more different, but they were all headed to the exact same place.
Okay, so how on earth did a group like this end up in such a dire situation? To really get it, we've got to rewind the clock a bit. Back a few decades to when a brand new faith, Christianity, first showed up in Japan.
So, around the mid-1500s, you have missionaries like St. Francis Xavier arriving, and wow, their message just clicked with people. The growth was, honestly, explosive. I mean, think about it. In just a few decades, the community grew to 200,000 converts. That is massive. But that kind of rapid success, it was bound to attract the wrong kind of attention.
And just like that, the whole atmosphere changed. This time of acceptance, it flipped. It gave way to intense, terrifying persecution. The political climate in Japan was about to do a complete 180.
So what was the trigger? Well, it was a single incident that just completely spiraled out of control. A Spanish ship gets seized, and what do they find on board? Weapons. This discovery just lit a fire of paranoia under the regent, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. He started thinking, wait a minute, are these missionaries just the first wave of a Spanish invasion? And to be fair, that wasn't a totally crazy thought back then. Spain was expanding its empire everywhere. So to make a statement, a really terrifying example, he ordered the execution of 26 of the most prominent Catholics he could find.
And that's when their final journey began. After they were arrested in Kyoto, these 26 people weren't sentenced to a quick death. No, they were condemned to a 600-mile march. It was a public spectacle, an ordeal designed to absolutely terrorize anyone who even thought about sharing their faith.
So let's look a little closer at who was in this group. You had 6 Spanish Franciscan missionaries, and remember those young boys? 2 of them were altar boys with this group. Then you had 3 Japanese Jesuits, and one of them was Paul Miki, the son of the samurai we mentioned earlier. And then there were 17 Japanese lay people. These weren't priests or anything, they were just ordinary members of the community, men and children, swept up in this whole thing. And the cruelty started almost immediately. The very first thing they did, to mark them as criminals, to publicly humiliate them, soldiers sliced off a piece of each prisoner's left ear. Just think about that. It was this brutal physical signal to everyone that their ordeal had begun, and it was meant for the whole world to see.
And here's where the story gets truly incredible. It's all about the contrast. For 30 days, they're being forced to march 600 miles, in the middle of winter, mind you. They're paraded through towns as a warning, they're mocked, they're tortured. But their response? It was just astonishing. They didn't just trudge along in silence. They were singing hymns. They were preaching to the crowds that came to gawk at them. Instead of being broken by this, it's like their conviction just got stronger and stronger with every single step.
Finally, that long, brutal march came to an end. They arrived in Nagasaki, which was actually a major hub for Japan's Christian community. And it was there, on a hill overlooking the city, that the final act of this whole tragedy was about to play out.
The place was Nishizaka Hill. The date, February 5th, 1597. And on that day, 26 wooden crosses stood waiting for them.
And even then, even from his own cross, Paul Miki, he preached one last sermon. He told the crowd that he was a Japanese man and a Jesuit. He forgave the people who were about to kill him, and he said he was dying for the glory of God and for the good of his country, Japan. Can you even imagine? His last words were just this incredible, powerful act of faith right in the face of death.
They were tied to the crosses, held up by these iron collars around their necks, and then, at a signal, soldiers stepped forward and ended their lives with lances.
But, the story doesn't just stop there, on that hill. In a really strange way, their deaths marked a new beginning. It became the spark that fueled a legacy of faith that would somehow manage to survive against absolutely all odds.
Fast forward a bit. In 1862, Pope Pius IX officially recognizes their sacrifice, and they're canonized as saints, the very first martyrs of the Far East. But maybe even more importantly, their story became this foundational legend for Japan's hidden Christians. For the next 250 years, while the persecutions raged on, this secret community kept their faith alive, underground. They passed it down from parent to child, generation after generation, all of it fueled by the memory of those 26 people who died on Nishizaka Hill.
So that kind of leaves us with this big question, right? What is it that makes a story of sacrifice from over 400 years ago still feel so powerful today? Is it just the raw courage they showed, or maybe the incredible strength of their belief? Or is it something simpler? Just the human story of people who were willing to give up literally everything for what they believed in?